Things we thought of when we heard the word Bryant: air conditioners, Midtown Manhattan parks, and dead basketball players. While we lost the chance to beat Michigan a third time, at least we have the consolation of ruining Phil Martelli's day later this week. You're listening to Can't Read, Can't Write. Kobe! Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Can't Read, Can't Write, the podcast that proves Spartans can talk. I'm an extremely hungover Mike Jones, joined as always by the guy with the boringest takes, Kevin Greck, and the dude with zero fucks left to give, Alex Plum. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Well, I got to point out to Alex Plum that we could be talking about another rematch with Michigan next week.
It's a great point. That's right. I mean, if Michigan gets through Auburn, I mean, that's really an indictment on Auburn's entire season.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah. But listen, we can cross our fingers on it. No, folks, I asked Kevin today before we hit record what his takes were on the Wisconsin loss, and I can only describe them to you as the most vanilla milquetoast punditry I've ever heard of any. It was incoherent. It was so blasé. So I'm hoping
stay tuned.
So I'm hoping for a lot of really good. Get ready. We get
Punch
into
up.
it. But it's kind of like when Obama had his first or second press dinner, and they had his anger translator or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Michael Keegan.
Michael Key from Detroit. Yeah,
from Detroit. Yeah,
Penn State alum.
Well, can't be perfect.
He did a good James Franklin impersonation.
Well, he's so I might be the key to your Obama tonight. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Appreciate you.
This was a mistake.
And
you're gonna throw up on camera?
Yeah, please,
No.
please.
That's
all
what
right.
you should stay tuned for, listeners.
Yeah. If you're not watching,
non-zero chance that Mike Jones throws up this evening, and you'll be here to see him hurl. Jonesy, walk us through. What's the outline, bud? Walk us through.
Well, before we get there, we're going to thank everyone for listening. And if we could ask a small favor, please share the pod with Spartans in your life. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get podcasts. Of course, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Spartan_pod and on Blue Sky at SpartanPod. And, folks, we are heading into spring. The social media questions competition will take place at some point in time in the spring. So start practicing.
hi.
What are we doing? Let's see. We're going to start behind the green wall where football always leads, but we're not going to talk about football this week. We're just going to talk hoops. Talk some men's hoops, talk some women's hoops, and then we'll talk about the little rubber puck thing and do some of that puck talk. We've got some off Grand River to get to, and then, of course, we're going to take your social media questions. Did I nail it? Is that the outline?
Well done, you.
Nailed it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's head behind the green wall and chat the Big Ten tournament, as it were. Michigan State first gets a win over Oregon and then loses to Wisconsin. So let's start with the Oregon game. I think a game that felt pretty in hand for the most part.
Yeah.
Still a really talented Oregon team, but Michigan State wins 74-64.
And in the second half, led by 10 basically throughout. I mean, that's going to be what I take away. Yeah. Nate Biddle hit some shots, and that upset me. That wasn't my favorite thing of all time. But overall, held them really low on three-point shooting. They were only 4 for 19. Another team doesn't hit its three-point shots. What are you going to do? And overall, really good, solid performance by the Spartans. Cohen Carr misses 2 dunks, but hits a 3, I think, was the strangest thing to happen in this game. Yeah. And Jace Richardson continues to take stuff over until he gets kicked in the noggin. That's it.
Yeah, that was actually one of my takeaways from this game. Is it felt like Oregon played Jace very physical. And I'm not talking about just there were other moments of that game where it felt like he was getting beat up on screens and
he gets beat up quite a bit. He kind of gets I guess who else has gotten beat up a lot? It seems like
Tyson used
they
to
always
get
win
beat up
it.
a lot.
Any of our guards that go in the paint really get, because Cassius got beat up quite a bit. I felt all the time. It's like when's he going to get the whistle for being Big Ten Player of the Year? When is that going to happen? And it never really did.
We should. I want to talk about some of these shooting statistics because this is a little bit of a concern, and I think it actually portended the doom we experienced against Wisconsin. This team was only shot 50% at the rim, 9 for 18, compared to Oregon's 15 for 20, and we were just better than 33% on mid-range jumpers. If Jace doesn't hit 3 for 7 on 3 points, his shooting is actually pretty fucking awful. And he only went 6 for 10 from the charity stripe. So, and I don't want to move us to Wisconsin right now, but I do want to say the shooting issue, particularly up close, the full inability to make layups with any kind of consistency. When you're a team that can't shoot fucking threes, then you have to be able to do the free shit. Layups are free, dunks are generally free, and the charity stripe is free. And so that was a concern for me. And yeah, I mean, maybe that's your point, Greg, about the defensive shenaniganery that they put Jace through, the physicality. Well, all right. And it obviously had some meaningful effect, but for the fact that he was able to tap into some kind of super elitism, which he possesses, but this team often does not with respect to 3 points.
Plum, yeah. I mean, I think an astute observation, because it is, I think, something that plagued us in the Wisconsin game as well, where there were a bunch of shots that it felt like we normally make, that were at or near the rim that just weren't going in. But I thought for certain you were going to double click on the free throw percentage. Michigan State shot an abysmal 59% in this game, though shot 47% from behind the arc. So
this has now been discussed on social media, but I think after the game, Jonesy, I told you that I'm pretty sure Satan visited me in a dream, and I made a deal with him that we will give a little on our free throw percentage to gain a little on the 3-point percentage. So I made that bargain with Beelzebub, and now we're seeing the result. They go 7 for 15 for 3. They go 17 for 29 from the free throw line. But I figure 3 points is more than 1 point. Check me on that. I can't read or write. Who knows about arithmetic? But
it is the third R. So
yeah, we've got 3 hours. All right. So I can live with it personally.
I'm going to take us to Wisconsin. I don't care what you say. And I'm going to do it now before I lose my shit. And here's why. We were 19. If you thought, and you should think that the free throw shooting was abysmal during Oregon, you'll say, well, we didn't shoot as bad against Wisconsin. And I'll say, fuck you. Because we lost the Wisconsin game by 3 after shooting 19 for 24 free throws. Now, arithmetic here. If we had made even 4 of those 5 free throws, I think we win the game.
It's that simple, right?
I think that's in there is a missed front end of 1-and-1 too.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that one.
I think there's 2 of those actually.
And they might have both been Jaden's, because he was a real doofus, a real dildo with hands and playing the point. I didn't like his performance at all. This is a Jaden Akins loss, if there ever was one. 6 points as a starting senior against fucking Wisconsin. I mean, they're coached by a used car salesman who is a raging alcoholic and looks like he may be sleeping in the back of the 99 Chrysler Town and Country he's trying to sell. It is awful, and it is as unforgivable as it is detestable. So Jaden Akins has some splaining to do, and until I see the whatever that, when they use the notes app function to apologize and making the runs on social media, I'm not over it yet.
Jaden Akins over 3 on mid-range twos, long twos at the U's.
Yeah.
And 1 for 4 from 3. So yeah, despite what he did on defense, and I guess
I don't know that we want to.
Well, he spent a lot of time on Tanji, who still went off for 32 points. Yeah, it's hard to scheme around that.
I mean, he had the worst net score. His net score was worse than fucking Booker's. And don't get me started on his beats per minute. I love it so much.
Yeah, we got to save Book for last because that I'm changing my future outlook on Xavier Booker. Can we talk about how this poor Coop comes in? Coop has a monster game, plays some great defense, has some stands, like really stood in there, played 28 minutes, and unfortunately, it's in a loss. So
scores more than Akins does.
Scores more than Akins does.
4 for 4 from the charity stripe.
Wait, did he go 4 for 4? I thought he missed 2.
No, sir. Plays. Not against Wisconsin.
4 for 4. Maybe if someone didn't drink so much, he would remember these things. Now we see how much you care about the podcast. Always putting yourself before the rest of us and our listening audience. Shameful.
Before you go to Booker, I'm just going to go back to Akins, and I'm going to just finish my point on him and say, I hate that I'm about to say this, but Richardson, excellent game. 21 points is about as much as you can ask for that kid. From a freshman? Holy shit. And even when rebounds. Well, fine. But and then the Oregon game. Even when he's not shooting his level best, he's a strong contributor and against a program that, I mean, Oregon's not the best, but they're not nothing. And so my point is, this is going to be about Akins. You can have games where Richardson is shooting 21. Carson Cooper has one of the games of his fucking life. Xavier Booker is out there thumbing the ass, consistent. Jaden Akins makes me physically nauseated to say it, is going to be the ticket here. If he can play with just mediocrity, with consistent mediocrity, we should win. We could win the whole fucking thing. But if we get this 6 points and he's just an absolute fucking dildo out there, he doesn't graduate. That's just it. No graduation. Nope. You don't graduate. Walk. You don't walk. No diploma. Sorry. You just leave and there's nothing for you. Is that fair?
Sounds fair. Yes.
Good.
I wanted to also talk about the personal foul situation. Particularly, so Jace gets 3 fouls at the beginning of the second half. I don't think it really affects his rotation all that significantly. He still plays 31 minutes, which is a lot for him. Jackson Kohler gets 2 in the first half, gets the bench. We don't see him again. Yeah. Ends the game with 3 personal fouls. And I knew what was going to happen too. As soon as Izzo took him out, I was like, he's only going to get 1 more foul the rest of this game. We need him all this time. He's only get 1 more foul. And here it has come to pass. Ends the game with 3 fouls. One of the benefits of having a 9.5 man or 9.25 or 9, maybe in this game, Booker actually counted as negative part of the rotation. So like 8.75 man rotation. Is that you don't have to do this conventional wisdom of like, he's got 2, sit him. You don't have to worry about it because you can bring in additional bodies. And then Zapala barely even plays. He only gets 9 minutes in this game. But like, one of the benefits of the personnel that you have here is that you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. So I've sent a strongly worded memorandum over to Tom at the building, and that we won't. It's my understanding that we won't have to worry about this happening again.
Good.
Jonesy, you were going to say something while you were trying to keep the vomit back in your mouth.
I was just gonna say that the Kohler foul that he picked up was his third foul was at like the 18-minute mark of the second half. We're just 2 minutes in. I don't know that we would have ever assumed going into this season that Jackson Kohler would be a player that we would have all been losing our mind if he's spending that much time on the bench.
Let me see if I can find the number of fouls Jackson Kohler has gotten on average in this season. Unfortunately, something's happening in college basketball right now that all of my statistics websites are having a little bit of an internet hug.
Yeah.
They're all having
fully.
difficult loading right now.
Yeah, I was like, what's wrong with Torvik? Really getting throttled back there.
He had 4 against Indiana. He had 4 at Michigan. That's it. That's it for the season. There are only 2 games where he had more than 3 fouls.
Play him, Tom.
Don't be a boob.
If he fouls out, he fouls out.
He's averaging in Big Ten play something like 25, 26 minutes a game. Both of those games, he plays 18 minutes.
Yeah.
Dumb. Use your resources, Tom. Whether it's scholarships or personal fouls that Jackson Kohler has available to him, use your resources.
I think the other thing that we can say, too, is that as much as Jaden Akins did not have a great game, Trey Holloman also did not have a great game. I know he finished in double digits, but 3 for 12 from the field, including 1 for 5 from behind the arc. Some of this has worked because normally when one person's down, another person steps up. The problem for Trey, the opportunity that Trey Holloman has is that he's able to fill in for someone like Jaden Akins, and he's able to fill in for somebody like Jeremy Fears.
Yep.
Fears, I think, had Holloman's back as a point guard in this particular game, but Holloman didn't have Akins back in an off night. And and Fears at this point in time I know he's technically a 40% three-point shooter, but like he's just not a shooter. Yeah. Until that changes.
And still 14 points. I mean, the second most points of anyone on the game. So, this is this is a win or lose by committee kind of situation here. I think your point's well taken. I think this is why your point about Kohler getting those minutes is so important. It's the same thing with Shimon Sapala. And I'll say one more to this too, is Fiddler. I mean, this kid has not really been impressive, and I don't know what we expected from him. Where did he come from? Who cares?
Omaha.
Yeah, exactly. So, please, this is it for you. This is it. So can we get any kind of production? He was 1 for 4. That was it. 1 for 4 and shooting from the field in the 9 minutes he gave us. Markedly better than anyone else, I guess. Japala Booker being his, I guess, contemporaries in that. But Jesus Christ, my guy, just give us something. No, 1 defensive board. That was it. So, yeah.
Michigan State just also got real cold down the stretch here. I think.
Yeah.
I know they finished 1 for 7, but it felt like if you told me they were 3 for the previous 18,
you'd believe it. You'd believe it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think the other thing that's worth acknowledging. Look, MSU loses this game by 3 points. Wisconsin is not a bad team. We knew that. We knew that when we played them. Tanji is a legit dude, and they made 2 incredible defensive plays down the stretch, Wisconsin, to stop a shot that Michigan State might have had of tying the game. That Trey Holloman had as wide open of a 3 as you could ever get, and I forget who blocked it, but dude closed out hard, great reach, and then also stayed to the side so he didn't blow through Trey in a shooting motion. Incredible play to block a 3-point shot that would have tied the game. And then Fears at the end of the game, after Tanji misses both of his free throws, and a 90% free throw shooter missing 2 free throws in a clutch moment is unheard of. But Fears, the way Fears tells it, here's Wisconsin's bench screaming to foul. They were going to foul.
And wisely.
Well, so Fears, in a heads-up moment, goes to then hoist a shot up, knowing that they were coming over to foul.
Yep.
And somehow, I don't even know that, like, I refuse to believe that Tanji intended to block that ball. I think he went to foul, and Fears just went up in a shooting motion, and he just got all ball. Like,
yeah.
I think it was more of a freak accident than anything else, but
Yep.
Tanji gets all ball to the end of the game, and Fears doesn't hit a three-pointer. So shit happens. Wisconsin's a good team. And I think this team needed to have a moment of clarity of it's done now. Like, league's done.
Yeah. And you can lose. It's possible to lose. So let's be sharp. Yeah. And also Xavier Booker is going to transfer at the end of the year. Only reason not to is if his benefactors are like locked in to some, contract and they can't get out of it, because my word, I think something new for him would do him probably some good, because he looked lost in his 4 whole minutes out on the floor in this game.
In the same way for Pierre Brooks, who I think went on to have a really nice year at Butler this year.
At Butler, yeah, having a great year.
Sometimes you just need to change the scenery.
Yeah, this ain't it. Is he the worst 5-star? I should ask this. Is he the most trash 5-star trash recruit we've ever gotten?
In basketball?
Yeah, in basketball.
By far, yeah. Second most would be...
Max Christie?
Yes, of course, Max Christie.
Oh my God, I found someone... Okay, I've got to sit with this for a little bit.
Well, here's
I was going to say Josh Langford, but that's not fair to Josh Langford.
It's not fair to Josh Langford.
In some fairness to Xavier Booker, he spent the entirety of his high school career in a
prison.
In the 80s in terms of ranking, and then in the last re-rank, he went to become a top 5.
Yeah.
Prospect.
So that was corruption. Someone paid for that to happen. We're wondering. We're just asking questions.
That class is considered a weaker from a talent perspective class, generally speaking.
Okay.
Like, just untalented kids were born that year, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't
Got
like.
it.
I mean.
Yep.
So anyway, so that's all to say. Like, I think it's worth considering that context as it relates to Book. And by all accounts, dude is not brought any of the baggage of being a 5-star. Like, we may find him frustrating, but he's not a piece of shit. Like, he's a good kid.
Sure.
Yep.
Yep.
Anyway,
10 p.m. Friday. 10 p.m. Friday. Why in the fuck are we playing at 10 p.m. Friday?
You ready for my milquetoast take? Doesn't matter to me. I'm watching all the games one way or another. I'm going to watch that game 10 p.m. Friday, whether we're in it or not. So
Here.
I don't care.
Yeah. Also, this means you get to maximize your enjoyment of all other basketball for Thursday and Friday without having to
cap it off with a
anxiety rage filled. It's starting.
Just like that.
It's happening.
Throwing stuff. Well, hopefully it won't be anxiety rage, because we are playing the Bulldogs. Phil Martelli's son, who
Kobe
Plum has evaluated. Oh my gosh. What are you doing over there?
It's this fucking light. It won't fucking stay up, but I'm going to lose my shit about it.
All right. Your Bryant Bulldogs are Ken Palm 149. That's 176 on offense, 148 on defense, and that puts them in the just for teams that we've already played this year, the sort of the Samford, Oakland type category. What they do well, tempo. It's a subjective thing, but they are a top 10 tempo team according to the tempo free stats. And they get a lot of blocks, And the interesting thing is it's not just their bigs, their wings get in on their blocks as well. In fact, their two most frequent blockers are Earl Timberlake, who's 6'6", and Kayvon Kramer, who's also 6'6". So they like to, I mean, in their league, they like to get in there. They like to get some, they like to disrupt. They're a little rangy, and we do struggle at times with larger teams, but we've also pretty soundly beaten taller teams as well. So I would hope that this wouldn't be too big a challenge. I think, are the lines out? I would guess this is somewhere in the 12-ish point range, 12, 15 point range, at least. Jonesy, check me on that. See if there's a line for this game, an early line. But the other game, presuming we get through the Bryant Bulldogs, would be 10 seed New Mexico versus 7 seed Marquette. Marquette's your KenPom 28, New Mexico your KenPom 41. So now we get to play potentially Shaka Smart in the tournament, which isn't the worst place to be if you're your Michigan State Spartans. Not to look at gift horse in the mouth. 17.5. Okay. So even higher than I thought. So for the first weekend, you got to play teams. This is not that awful a draw, I don't think, in terms of the, the teams that we could have grabbed under the circumstances. Sure. I'm not complaining. What do you guys think?
I don't like having Marquette there as a name. It bugs me, but you know what? Like, you've got to play. You have to play teams, and I'd also say, I believe all the teams that there are left to play are good in some way or another. So, like, this is about as much sleep as we'll get probably for the next little while here. The Bryant.
And we get to play in Columbus, which is not too bad.
It's true.
Yeah. Probably have a hotel that they're familiar with.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Or wait, I thought we were in Cleveland. Or are we actually in Columbus?
Oh, is it Cleveland?
Yeah, I think we're in Cleveland. But either way.
That's my bad. That's my bad. Is it worth talking about the fact that Michigan is in our bracket? Like,
well, I do want to talk about something as it relates to Michigan that I've been seeing online this evening/afternoon.
Great.
Many people referring to them as having won the Big Ten. Excuse me?
Who's saying that, Michael? Who? Show us on the doll.
I'll show you a lot of dolls that are saying it. And I believe actually in the selection show, one of those jabronis made reference to Michigan being a 5 seed, having quote unquote just won the Big Ten.
Oh,
the fuck are you talking about?
It would not be Clark Kellogg. He would not say something like that.
Well, we know it wasn't Gumbel. So.
You're correct. We are in Cleveland. You're absolutely right.
Anyway, just no congratulations given to those communists down in Ann Arbor, but this idea that they won the Big Ten is wild.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So,
anything else stand out to you guys about the bracket?
I don't like the idea that we would have to play Michigan a third time, though. I will say that.
Well, it's not going to happen. You're not about that. They will not beat Auburn. It's so ludicrous as to be silly.
We also, I believe, were ranked the third 2 seed. So why are we playing the number 1 seed?
I'd prefer it if it means staying in the Midwest.
We're in the South.
Well, yeah. I mean, staying in the Midwest for the first weekend. This is where we've historically gotten hung up and fucked sideways. I'm not super excited about a 10 o'clock game, I got to be honest with you. My spidey sense is a little tingly about that. And listen, Shaka Smart Shaka Smart, who shares a birthday with yours truly, he is a good coach, and Marquette's a good program, and that's another one. I expect they'll beat New Mexico. So getting out of the first weekend is going to be a humdinger. Humdinger.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the tournament, but I just kind of, yeah. All right.
I'm not worried about Auburn. I think Auburn's a nothing burger. Nothing burger. And we will beat them to get in the Final Four.
Marquette's only favored by 3.5 over New Mexico.
It's because it's a 7-10. Like that, you're never going to get real odds on that. It's a
Marquette
classic
has a
5-12.
bigger name brand.
Sure. Well, maybe the old New Mexicans of New Mexico. Get them in the goods.
Then we would play in Atlanta if we get through these
that's right.
this weekend. Yeah.
That's right. I think that's right.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's talk women's shooting hoops, eh?
Yeah.
Sure.
So the ladies are a 7 seed, playing the first weekend in Spokane, Washington. Washington.
Wild place.
Wild place.
Taking on Harvard.
Harvard.
Harvard is your Torvik 46. That's 69 on offense, 33 on defense.
And remind us where we are, where the lady Spartans are.
We have just bit routinely in the 20-ish range.
Okay.
Let me double check here. Currently 23.
All right.
What are we on offense? What are we on defense?
Currently 32 on offense, 22 on defense.
Sweet.
So I don't know what the line is for that, but that's gotta look, MSU by 5, something like that.
Yeah. They've beaten up on a lot of teams that once preseason. So who knows? Maybe they'll
Indeed.
run it up on Iowa on Harvard.
And Harvard.
And then let's talk some puck. I know Jeff Jackson finally got over the hump. Good for him.
Got over the hump. Got put out to pasture.
No. He was at 599 and he got his 600.
Oh, that's true. And 601 had to win too to get to Mun Ice Arena.
I actually just heard he's gonna stick around until he gets 7 now. He's got to end it. He's really upset about that last win. Has to end it on an even.
He
0.
wanted that round number. Well, failing that, he's now been put out to pasture. Started his career in Mun Ice Arena, ended his career in Mun Ice Arena because last night, as of taping this, it was last night, your MSU hockey program has progressed into the Big Ten Tournament Championship game, defeating Notre Dame 1-0 on a single power play goal to begin the third period. And if you were there or you were watching it, you'll know that the stats were a little wonky in this one.
Say more about that.
Well, we outshot Notre Dame like 35-20 or something like that, but it did not feel like that. I would say of the top 5 best scoring opportunities, Notre Dame might have had 4 of them. I don't know, 3 or 4 of them. Really, if there is any one stat that I would point at in this stat sheet, it's the number of blocks that Notre Dame had. Like, they really gummed it up, and they if you watch the games on the Peacock, or maybe you were in South Bend, it was never really a doubt who the better team was in either of those games. But last night, in the second and third period, I was sweating, man. It felt like a game that we could drop pretty easily, but we didn't. And we'll be taking on Ohio State on Saturday, who beat Penn State in overtime, which overtime rules in the Big Ten tournament, as we learned last year, are different from regular season. It's just like 5-on-5 until someone scores. And Ohio State is your pairwise number 9. So they're going to the tournament one way or the other, the NCAA tournament. But another big game, big matchup in Mun Ice Arena for a Big Ten tournament banner. because you've already got the real Big Ten banner. So this
That's
is
right.
just a little bonus.
Let's not say we're about to win the Big Ten. We already have. Aha.
So be there. It was a lot of fun. Like, it's so much fun seeing Mun packed to the gills and hype and everyone in their seats and the student section going for it. Get out. If you have not been to Mun since Knight took over and like the team has been fun, get out to Mun Ice Arena, support these guys, and send them on to Toledo because they will almost certainly be in the Toledo regional in a couple weeks. So go there as well. Anything else, guys, on hockey? Doing that hockey?
Did that hockey. Should we head off Grand River here in a second?
Yeah.
Okay. Before we do, we of course want to remind you all, if you've not had a chance, check out Mama's Mercantile and Eatery, where homemade dishes meet locally sourced ingredients. You'll find many Michigan-made products featured on Mama's Mercantile and Eatery's menu. And you can check them out at 4450 Clear Lake Road, Grass Lake, Michigan. Whether you're dining in or ordering online, experience great food, drinks, and atmosphere at Mama's. Visit mamasmerc.com for menus, online ordering, and more. Come as a guest, leave as family. And mention Can't Read, Can't Write for 10% off of your bill. All right. Should we... I just had a couple notes here before we get to, I think, the bigger thing. Ben Johnson and Fran McCaffrey have both been fired.
Oh, yeah. Good call.
Yeah.
Franny.
So...
R.I.P., bud.
Yeah.
What do we think about Ben Johnson, though? Like, I think he's going to get hired. He's going to get another job pretty quick. Maybe not Power 5, but somewhere.
I think he got put clearly in an impossible situation where there were no resources for that program. Apparently, Minnesota then got resources. The word is, got some NIL commitments. And then, but the donor's condition was getting rid of Ben Johnson. Which I'm just kind of like, What? He is pretty clearly a good coach. Like, even when they've been the bottom dweller of the Big Ten, they've not been sort of a pushover.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I was bummed for him. Fran, whatever.
You know, I want to raise a possibility here. For folks who don't know, they lost to Illinois in the second round of the Big Ten tournament by 10 or more, I think. I think they let him hang 100 and some points on him. Not a great look. Neither team a defensive juggernaut by any stretch of the imagination. Iowa lucky just to be in the fucking big tournament, as it were.
Yeah.
Fran gets assessed double T's and is ejected from the game. Thus, his last game in the Big Ten, he did not even finish the fucking game coaching.
But it is perfect.
It's perfect. There's nothing bad. You couldn't have written a more storybook ending for Fran McCaffrey in the Big Ten than getting ejected in his last game in the Big Ten.
Was the official doing the ejecting?
It was
Mr.
not.
Kelly
It was
Pfeiffer?
not Kelly Pfeiffer.
That would have been the most storybook thing of them all.
Absolutely, it would have been, but I do not believe it was.
That was his one chance at redemption, and
honestly,
it was taken by someone else.
His peers in the Big Ten had to do it for him because Kelly does not have the cojones, as it were, to do it himself. I wonder, Beth Goetz, not sure how she pronounces it, the athletic director at Iowa, zero fucks to give. Hats off to old Beth. Thought, we're not going to let this alleged racist continue to coach here. And
that's for football.
That's only for football. We don't do this for basketball. You know, I don't know. I mean, Fran is a red-faced, angry sumbitch who in 15 years has probably done more to set the Hawkeyes back than to advance their reputation as one of a place of inclusivity and diversity. So, in Trump's America, that's okay.
Also
but
doesn't have any resources.
Yeah.
Iowa's not going to become a juggernaut anytime soon.
Yep.
I also, Plum, I'm confused by Fran when he got his second technical. Just seemed to leave. If you teed me up twice, I'm gonna get my money's worth.
Gonna get my money's worth. I think he was surprised, and I think this is one of the challenges. I got to say, none of what we saw from Fran McCaffrey here was surprising. I don't think any of it was necessarily at odds with how he coaches most games. And I think if there's an argument to be made here, is that the officials are probably told in the tournament to ratchet it up a little bit, to come harder for the sportsmanship or the decorum. There's more eyes on the product. You guys are going to be going to the big dance. And, obviously the way they call the NCAA tournament is nothing like the way they call a Big Ten game. And we're going to have officials from all over the country. So it's going to be a completely new basketball in many respects in terms of the officiating. But the Big Ten officials let all kinds of shit go. All kinds of shit. I mean, you see Izzo up and down the court screaming his fucking head off, fire-eyed, and then to his credit, he checks out. My point in saying this is he yelled, the thing that got him sent was him yelling, "That was bullshit." Okay, that's for the Big Ten? For Fran McCaffrey? What are you talking about? That was the first tee, not the second. You got to ignore that. So I think he was surprised. And I was surprised. I think that was inconsistent. And while I would tell you that's always ejectable, in my opinion, that's not how they officiate the regular season. And so shame on the Big Ten officials. I think they're wildly inconsistent. And I think we saw that. We've seen that game after game. Boots saw it for sure on Saturday.
You raised an interesting point because Trey Holloman clearly has done way worse things than whatever he got teed up for in this game.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what did he do.
He was talking to the bench as he walked past. Allegedly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. They had 13 and a half minutes left in a deficit of 6-7 points at that point. Fran getting run. Stupid son of a bitch. God, what an idiot.
It was really like from whence you came type situation. Also, a storyline worth pointing out, going back to Ben Johnson, the last coach that got fired by Minnesota, maybe coaching against us if New Mexico and MSU makes it through. So Mr. Richard Pitino, if he can get a job somewhere else, I trust Ben Johnson can get a job somewhere else.
Well said.
I think Iowa has a big man who's a freshman who's going to be entering the portal now, has already said that he will be, that MSU did recruit pretty hard. But I suspect that he will be very expensive, and I don't think Tom Izzo's interested in playing that game. So just something to keep eyes on, though.
All right.
We didn't have to play that freshman because he was hurt, but I think he was averaging like 12 and 8 or something like that as a freshman, so having a good year. All right, Greg, you made note here that MSU has finally hired an NIL guy.
Oh, yeah. We got to talk about this at some point. John Dykema, he was with the Lions. Also, Tom Izzo, student manager. Tom Izzo guy. So we got to talk about that someday.
Do you think he applied for the job, or do you think Tom just called it in?
It's a good question. Tom Izzo guy, though, is who we got for NIL.
But he didn't do this for the Lions? Assumedly, he knows what he's doing.
Something related to cap space and management, and we're gonna have to dig into this a little bit more, and not just the rumors around it or the potential implications, but like what this role is and what he's meant to be doing for MSU. It is kind of interesting that it's like an actual MSU job, so it's getting more towards the rev share stuff.
Well, they have to. I mean, I'm just happy to see they've made an investment in it. Now, can mediocre effort at this be better than no effort at this? I guess that is what I don't know. I'm not saying he's going to be mediocre. I'm just saying in a worst case scenario, the best he gives us is mediocre. Is that at least some effort better than no effort in this space?
Yeah. I mean, presumably. Right?
Right. I think
that one of my takes?
They need to have a person handling it. They can't have no one.
Yeah.
The checks need to get out the door at least. Someone's got to run payroll.
Indeed. Should we hop into these social media questions?
Yeah, let's do that.
Blueski.
Do the social media questions. Okay. First up, listener Mike Jones. How long did it take for you to get over that game? Surprisingly, it took me about 5 minutes when I realized we wouldn't win 15 games in a row.
Fun. This is another of the boringest takes. Come on. You're the only one bringing the heat.
I was so upset. I texted you both, and then I texted Michael separately, I think in all caps. I was really emotionally devastated by this loss. There was something I really just wanted. I think I just wanted the Big Ten tournament so that no one could say, Michigan just won the Big Ten. Fucker. So, at any
I found
rate.
myself more upset last year, and I think it's because I knew that team was dog shit and wasn't going to go anywhere, and so them not winning was depriving me
of a tournament
of games, like of entertainment, right? This team, I really do think that they're young enough that it will do well for them to feel the consequence of, oh, that's done now. Like, we don't get to do any more of that.
Yep.
And now go win 6.
Yep.
So,
Speaking of which, Mike Jones' second question is simply plug the bracket. So we'll tweet this, blue sky it out, email it to you, whatever it is. But we'll have the Can't Read, Can't Write tournament bracket, which I think Mike Jones sets
Mike
it
Jones
up
going
on.
to start. He starts. Yeah, it's CBS.
Yeah, it's already set up.
or ESPN.
ESPN, though, we should talk about that, Mike. We might want to change that away from someone who actively hurts the Big Ten and maybe switch it over to a
Yahoo
Sports.
CBS.
What's wrong with them? CBS, in honor of our favorite play caller.
Yeah. Speaking of favorite questioners, Beth Amaro.
Hey, Beth.
At this point, non-contributors can't be tolerated. If you could have Book step up and do just one thing really well in the tourney, what would that one thing be?
Getting on a plane and flying to Latvia.
Let's make it a counting stat, though, in sincerity. So you can't just
I
say
can
defense.
count number of flights to Latvia. I can count that.
Well, because my thing would be like, if he just defended, I think it'd be fine.
Yeah.
But
threes.
Yeah,
Just the threes.
I want those trailing threes. That's what I want. I'm just a normie. Just defense is hard and obviously not something that he's up for. Hit those trailing threes for once in your time here.
That's it.
As short as it may be.
That's it.
Next up from the 56 Shrad. What is it actually?
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Oh,
I
God.
love it.
I don't know.
I thought I just bombed it, and that's.
I hope that's right. No, I just think it's silly.
The 56 Shrad. Why do we pretend to care about this tournament? Clearly, the best teams don't win it.
Great take. Best take.
Way better than my boring takes. That is for sure. Next up from Thomas Mbiasi.
So, wait, real quick. It is worth mentioning that Michigan State has the most all-time Big Ten tournament record or tournament wins. So
Not this year they don't, and that's the only thing that matters.
It says a lot that we don't care about that. Having the most, we don't care.
We don't need to.
It
We have so
doesn't
many.
matter.
We're happy to share.
Thomas says,
Thomas.
I'm in Ann Arbor as I type this to hang out with my cousin and old neighbor, but everyone is wearing green. Is Trey Holloman fever truly gripping the nation?
people are saying.
Yeah.
I want to be careful.
Right there.
I don't want us to artificially inflate Ann Arbor as representative of the nation. Ann Arbor is indeed representative of nothing with any meaning, though it is good that some few there have indeed seen the light, and we can at least applaud them for the good taste that they have, as hard as it may be for them.
Yeah,
to
this
find
weekend, they were definitely doing it this weekend for Trey Holloman.
100%. With no doubt.
Next
Not
up from
even
Thomas.
Single doubt.
The bracket's probably out by the time you're recording this. What matchup is driven the most by TV narratives, do we think? That's a good question.
I mean, in our bracket, just having Carolina and Michigan, but they're on the other side. We won't see them to the Elite Eight. I
Right.
mean, I don't think there's not really a narrative in the first weekend for us. Vanderbilt's on the other side of the tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah. For right now, not seeing any narratives. Next weekend, we could be talking about narratives. But for the moment, pretty clean. Pretty clean.
I think that's right.
Next up from the Key Ski, Fear's unwillingness to shoot an open three is killing the flow of our offense. Agree?
Yes. All of their unwillingness to shoot threes. All right.
I think you can get away with a non-scoring point guard if you're facilitating well, and he has been kind of facilitating well. And it's not like he's unwilling to score at all. This isn't like a Travis Walton situation. He can get into the lane. He can create. He can get fouled. He can do other things. So I'm going to disagree with you on this one, the Keith Ski. What do you think, Michael Jones, as you are really focused in on the podcast right now?
I tend to disagree with Keith Ski as well, but I understand, I think, what he means, that there are times that there are some possessions, particularly when it gets a little bit later in the clock. There's been some successful defense played against Michigan State that it's like if Fears would just take a three, it would feel cleaner. And instead, he ends up kind of driving, and it's like it doesn't really work, and so he's got to back it out, and then we're playing hot potato again. I understand what he's saying, but at the same time, Fears' numbers are really great, and if he's here 4 years, he'll probably set the all-time Big Ten assist record. Like, I think he's doing okay.
Yeah. Next up from the Key Ski, the ability of one guy to go nuclear in March never fails. Hopefully, Jace took notes from Tajay. Plum, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like this reference of any other player needing to give notes to any of our players. Points well taken on Jason. I think, so I saw a meme go out with Tom and that sort of clever smirk after the game ends, and he's looking at Greg Gard and going over to shake hands with him. He's got that knowing smirk, and I think maybe Shartvert had tweeted this out, that it was Tom, like the face of a guy who knows he's got 15 hours worth of board. What is the fucking Jesus Christ? I'm having a stroke. Basically, like I have what?
Bulletin board material.
Bulletin board material. Thank you. I'm like pinup board. Anyway,
this was really pithy. Great meme you've described here.
I am losing my mind. But I just the point I'm trying to make here is that wasn't what he was smiling about, Anthony. What he was smiling about was realizing that Greg Gard, in his frumpy, wrinkled suit, was going to go sleep in his 99 Chrysler Town and Country at the end of that game. And Tom was like, I'm not. And so, yeah, you won by 3. You live in a van. So
he actually looked over at Greg Gard and could see the fatty liver like kind of coming through. I like this new bit that we've built. I will say in all of this, at the end of the game, I got back to thinking like Wisconsin is a real like natural rival for us, and it has felt the entire time that I've watched MSU sports.
Yes, that's right.
That in some way they're the truest rival
Correct.
that we have. Some of our absolute biggest games, and like has been for 2 decades now, have been played against that team.
I just want to credit my friend Josh, who got me on this used car salesman. He told me that he thinks that Gard looks like a shift manager whose staff keeps calling off. I thought, that's also a great way to put it. So anyway, I hope everyone on this podcast has a friend that they can shit talk Greg Gard with, because that's what we deserve in this world.
Yeah, next week.
Find yours.
Yeah, please comment and describe what are your favorite new favorite Greg Gard bits. Next up is Spartan 18770. Greg, you've been asking the questions for a bit here. For you, for those asking if Booker will transfer, what school will offer him a bag that MSU is already paying?
Truly no school. Not a single one. No school. Not one. If there's any kind of like, if he's like locked in on that contract and it's like guaranteed money, we'll see you next year. Maybe we can take him off scholarship or something like that.
oh no, he won't have a scholarship.
Yeah, but like maybe that's how we work around this. Like, okay,
I
you
mean,
can stay here and wear green and white, but you will be paying your own $25,000 in tuition per year.
Yeah.
But no one will do that. He'll be taking a big financial step back.
Yeah,
Hope
not
you've been
after
saving,
this
bud.
season. Yep.
Hope you've been filling that IRA. Next up from Jarrett Carpenter, Plum. Why do we have to play Bryant? They're the 6th tallest team in the NCAA, and we don't do great against length.
I love that we use the word length to describe height. I like it. It's silly.
Why?
It gives me a tickle. A
Who do you think the
confusing
6th girthiest team is in the NCAA?
This is upsetting. This is desperately upsetting. It's got to be.
What team of chodes are
It has to be. This is easy, guys. It has to be Oral Roberts for sure. Oh no, this has gone off the rails. Why didn't we have to play Bryant? Listen, I'm glad we're playing Bryant. Bryant gave me what I'm going to call probably my finest cold open of the calendar year. So
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
That today was your best so far.
So I'm going to say I'm happy, and I don't care that they're long. I don't care if they're girthy. I don't care what they are. They're fast, and that's all they've got going for them. And so we will dispatch them quickly, and poor Phil Martelli he'll be happy
was
for time.
the team last year that had the really big fella? Speaking of girthy teams, was that NC State or something?
Yeah, there was a guy
Yes.
who looked like he was about $3.50 out there, just bumping around. That's great.
Loved it.
Good for him.
Would have loved to have had him.
All right, next up, Chair Bear. Hey, Chair. He said, first thing, tonight turned out okay. Not sure when he tweeted or
That
Blues
might have
did
been.
that.
I'm guessing this is after the hockey game.
Aha, wink, wink. Not sure why. Didn't know he followed hockey, but good conclusion anyway. If we're going to have a dumbass ref mic for what they are reviewing, should they be forced to use it to tell us why a player got a technical? I want it unedited too.
Oh, this is good. This is good. Plum.
This is actually great. This is a great material. I think you're absolutely right. I would tell you, based on what I've seen from the officials working in men's basketball, that when they go to the microphone, there is an utter lack of discipline and consistency, official to official. And that is very surprising. Now, my only comparator on this is, of course, soccer. But when we started video review in soccer, one of the first things they put all the referees through was the specific hand signals that had to be used and the specific language and verbiage that had to be used so that there was consistency across the board. So whatever soccer game you're watching, if there is video review and the referee makes a decision or does not make a decision, the signaling, the language, all of it is consistent and precise. And you don't get this in basketball. And I'm wondering if that is why they're not doing more, because they don't even know where to begin. But you see Jeffrey Anderson get in front of that microphone, and I'm like, ooh, what kind of story is he going to tell? Because it's going to be off the fucking charts, and he's going to stutter a few times when he does it, and then he's going to turn his head away from the microphone, and you're going to lose about every third word. So that's fun, too.
Is he going to say giving him the business? Technical dead ball, technical foul, giving him the business. I like this idea as well. And I also want it unedited.
Unedited, yeah.
Next up from Jeremy Bear, how many jugs of green punch were supplied by listener Mike Jones on campus today? These are, of course, for our olds. Borgs are what they're known as.
Yes, Borgs.
I do believe I have a Borg in the bushes right now that I will need to be fishing out and throwing away from the youths passing by the house yesterday.
Wait, is this is a blackout rage gallon, I believe you were describing.
Yes. Explain to our listenership Borgs and what they look like.
So a Borg is it's a gallon of milk. It's a plastic milk gallon container. You can visualize that, filled with a fifth of liquor of your choice, and then some non-alcoholic mixer. Basically, it could be water if you have a real problem, or a soda, soft drink.
What if you put liquid IV in there? Would it be like a little bit of a like take a little
edge
a penny,
off?
give a penny?
Yeah, that's
situation?
right. Could you fill it up with Alka-Seltzer? Is this sort of like
Yeah.
is this sort of like a Mentos Pepsi kind of moment? I don't know.
Here, I'll go fish the Borg out of my bushes. We'll run tests on it. We'll see what it was. What's in there?
Old Bushborg. That's
Can you
beautiful.
imagine though? Like in my stoutest drinking days, I could
Never.
never get close to a fifth. I
Never.
would be dead in the gutter.
Dead. I don't know how they do it.
Well, they don't do a whole fifth. I mean, some of them do, I'm sure, but there's no way. There's no way.
I mean, that's dangerous. I mean, I think
Yes.
it's physically dangerous.
Agreed. Remember when we were at MSU, like they were really big on 21-year-olds don't take 21 shots because you'll die.
Yeah, because you'll actually die. Yes.
And I just remember being like, okay, I'll
won't.
be sure to not do that thing that I know obviously I can't take 21 shots.
Just my experience as an 18-year-old told me that I couldn't take 2. So 21 is violent.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot of work over 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah.
I have to think that like some of those Borgs have like 3 or 4 shots in them and then it's just punch.
Yeah. Let's hope.
I do like though, listener Mike Jones. I mean, I know for a fact he was on campus. So people are saying. Next up from Joe Mondelli.
Joe, hey buddy.
Xavier Booker has been on a pretty bad downward trend the last couple of weeks.
Last couple of seasons.
Quality play from him. Do you think he finds it in the tourney or is it next season if he's even here?
He's not going to get more than 4 minutes a half.
Yeah.
The reason he played more, it was because of the Kohler foul trouble.
Yeah. Do you think yeah. Ooh, God. I don't know. Maybe against Bryant, maybe something clicks. He's tall. Maybe he plays better against some longer players. I don't know. Probably not. Good question anyway.
I think we held out hope for Xavier Booker, but it doesn't look good.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Just Sip. What's up, Sip? Oh my God. PW said he'd love to be on the pod at any time with a sincere invitation. Well, PW, this is it. This is how about one Alex in, another Alex out? How's that?
Oh,
how's that? Next time I'm gone.
Interchangeable parts.
Interchangeable Alexes. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. It's you. You're up. You're on deck. Stay tuned. Actually, maybe next week. We'll see. I'll be in Houston.
Wait, what? You're not going to be around next week?
Maybe. I don't know. I'll be in Houston. I got to figure it out. PW, you're on deck.
In Houston.
I do have the internet there. All right. Last up from Jess Sip. Should we rescind, Michael, for you, should we rescind the Kelly Green hate after Izzo won Coach of the Year in that swag?
No.
Okay.
It's still a trash color. I don't care what it, like.
He won in spite of that swag is what Mike Jones is saying.
Yeah, absolutely not. So, sorry. Not sorry. Next up, Graham Couch critiquing us for sending this out before the brackets asked. This is going to be another one of those shows. Well, Graham, I think it's gone off seamlessly. I feel fantastic.
Yeah. I think Jones is really pulling it off over there. If we compare how much he's spoken this episode to all previous episodes, I'm sure there wouldn't be anything that stands out about this one.
Also, I like how he says another one of those shows, as if that's supposed to be sort of a threat or something. Like, no, this is what you get. It doesn't. There's really the timing makes no difference to anything.
Next up, podcast on podcast hate continues from the search. Thing says we've never been more back, like not caring that you lost in the Big Ten tournament, right?
That is very true.
So good. Great take.
I will have you know the search, which is Ali for those that aren't aware, but everyone is, I'm sure. We've been minimizing the Big Ten tournament for years. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Who needs it?
Very much.
Not us. Next up from Ali, who's not taking his multi-question loophole. He's doing one from each account. Do you think about me when you came up? Did you think about me when you came up with last week's episode title? Which you're not gonna believe this. I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
What's
I'm looking.
last week's episode?
I was looking it up right now.
It was just back. I also your
Oh,
first
back
reading
with
of
a
that question
period.
was-
Wait, what was my first reading? Oh no, did I mispronounce
You'll
something?
have to listen to it back. Period. All right.
Ah,
Next up, Ray Ray the Loiterer. Great name. Have we had a question from Ray Ray?
yes, it's Mr. Knock Pants.
Oh, damn it. Hi, Raymond. All right. I'm sick the wind out of my sails. Why is the party line, Kevin, that MSU will have a second seed in the tournament?
I think it's just it's
It
sort
was
of where they
stupid.
settled down. It was going to be really hard to break in on the one, especially with the right teams winning.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, and I think we see this with Michigan getting a 5 seed, the outcome of the Big Ten tournament does not affect seeding, really. I don't know if they even pretend that it does, but it clearly does not.
Yeah.
And that was our only chance to get up to the 1. So 2 is kind of where you land at that point. So what are you going to do? Next up from Ray Ray. Recently, I was given a single hockey ticket. Once I was inside the arena, I noticed that my ticket was for a suite full of Hillsdale College alumni who were all dressed like people at a ski resort. Is small talk possible? This sounds like hell.
Hell.
I cannot imagine
Hell.
any hockey game being worth this.
A Hillsdale College alumni?
I mean, it makes sense that they would love hockey.
Does it?
Sport that
not
feels
not
like they can see
polo?
themselves most in. Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't know.
What's the most Republican sport? NASCAR?
Yeah, I wouldn't say hockey. Hockey?
No.
Maybe hockey? I don't know.
Oh, or like a taping of Wheel of Fortune? Like, I don't know.
Or a
Oh,
taping of
this-
illegally held immigrants, like physically taping them, like that could be a sport they would like. I don't know.
Living and working in this state, I've interacted with alums from basically every institution. And for the most part, they've been lovely. The one Hillsdale alum that I've ever worked with was the worst.
Yeah.
She was just unpleasant to the core of her. Just awful. Ray, find another seat somewhere, bud. If you're still there at this hockey game,
Yeah.
out.
just be like,
Get
hey,
out.
does anyone want to sit in a suite? Go on out there and let them deal with that.
Yes, that's right.
Next up from Leaf, who's got 2 BS questions. BS question number 1: someone explain why, with all that's going on around us, we would add more stress into our lives and watch that game on Saturday. Did you gain something from going through the pain and agony of defeat? Plum, you were the one that was most affected by that loss. Tell us, did you gain anything from it?
Well, yeah, Greg Gard. I got a lot of enjoyment out of Greg Gard and just seeing Greg Gard, and that's it. That was it. I actually think that who made this point? Mike Jones, listener Mike Jones, realizing we would not win 15 games in a row. That's perfectly and eloquently said. Let's cut our losses right here, and now let's win the next 6. Very
I want to know if
excellent.
Mamapaleef was holding her pearls while she said, with all that's going on around us.
Yes, I think that's right. Clutched, fully clutched. Last up from Mamapaleef with BS numero dos. Do you believe that Michigan State University's top human resources officer, Christina Brogdon's exit from the university was voluntary or not voluntary, and why? Kevin, please.
Well, Kevin has the personnel file over there.
Yeah, he should.
Yeah. Here, let me just other.
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 Good. It was other. Very good. Very good. Thank you. And that is concerning Susan that you knew that. Please stop knowing that.
Someone went to the statenews.com and is like, top human resources officer.
Old Christina Brogdon. Great last
I wondered
name.
if she had like a MSU sort of fired kind of like Google News alert that she was just getting every day
Okay.
when someone was released.
Maybe she's personal friends with Christina Brogdon. We don't know. There's a lot of information here that will hopefully be sussed out.
Maybe Mamopoulos
next year.
is Christina Brogdon.
Shit.
People are
Can't
saying.
wait for this saga to unfold, and we
People
can.
are saying.
Can't read, can't write, can't wait. All right, last up tonight,
Can't
the Upper Deck
continue work at MSU.
jerk guy. Kevin, do you even Big Ten tournament, bro?
Nah, bruh. Nah. Regular season, bruh. Come on. Bet.
Bruh.
Next up from the Upper Deck Jerk guy, most likely upset loss for MSU in the South.
Marquette.
New Mexico.
Yeah, I actually kind of like. I don't hate our draw.
I don't
I've been
either.
staring at
Yes. I know. It could be so much worse.
it. Especially, I mean, you never want the number one, the top seed, but like.
I'm
your
telling you,
stats are
Auburn's a
number
fart in the
one.
wind. They might lose to Michigan. Fuck.
That would be in the Elite Eight. That Momopoly, that would be a stressful environment. And finally, from the Upper Deck Jerk guy, have you been celebrating Women's History Month? Are we still doing that? What with everything going on in the world?
As a gay person, I'm not required to. So I don't know about that.
You're here. You're here. Because you
As
don't
an
get
ally.
a month.
I don't get
Right.
a month. I don't get a girth month of girth. That's not fair.
It's not what my
Pride a whole
understanding is. Something you've told us, but
Michael, pride is about more than girth. Okay.
and he's got to
As
share
well.
it with a
Yeah, I got to
bunch of
share it with
other groups.
lesbians, and lesbians get their own month. That's just what I'm saying.
So you don't do Women's History Month. What about Black History Month? Do you do that one?
Sure. Sure do.
Yeah. How? Tell us how you observe.
All kinds of ways. A lot of ways.
several ways.
Historic ways.
You guys are idiots. All right.
I'm sorry,
March,
everyone.
go green.
Go away.
Go fight.